Yes, it has. Would everyone, oh, sorry.
You're the only one I didn't get to say hi to yet. So
Would
you're the only one
everyone
I didn't
please
say hi to
stand
yet.
for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for invocation? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, as we gather this evening, this council asks for strength, courage, and wisdom. We thank you for the privilege that us 5 members have to serve this wonderful community we live in. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Amen.
We're going to call to order the September 17th meeting of the Mooresville Town Council. Before we jump into anything, we received this, and I know a lot of you are here on the rezone on Pennington Road. We received this from Ross Holloway's engineering company. It says, we request that the above referenced zoning request be removed from the Town Council's agenda for tonight. We have not received the amended zoning ordinance that includes the additional commitments that we agreed to at the Planning Commission meeting on August 22nd. When we receive the revised ordinance, which I expect to receive within the next 10 days, I will forward it to Mr. Daniel for review. Assuming Mr. Daniel approves and the revised zoning ordinance, I will then request to be placed on the council agenda. Mel, in speaking with some of the members of the audience, they had asked the procedure on this and also a time frame on bringing this back to the council. Could you explain a little bit of that?
Well, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the history of this, but as you know, it went before the Plan Commission for a public hearing. That public hearing was held, and the Plan Commission moved as an unfavorable recommendation. They recommend to the Town Council. The Town Council does not hold a public hearing. Plan Commission's already done that. And then there were some comments made at the meeting. Should the Town Council now can do what it chooses. It doesn't have to follow the recommendation of the Plan Commission. So I'm sure what Mr. Hollifield is doing is preparing an ordinance to submit to the town. So when it does act on this one way or another, if it should approve it, then he is putting in the ordinance that he presents to the town those things that he represented to the Plan Commission that they would do to that project. And of course, I know it was turned down there, but should the Town Council approve it, then he would have to have an ordinance here that had what we call those commitments in it. So what he's basically said here is they don't have that ordinance prepared yet, and have asked that the Town Council not hear this tonight. And so the Town Council can, you can approve that or deny it, or they could approve it and require him to submit that within a certain period of time. So that's where we are.
Is there a certain time frame from the Planning Commission meeting that they have to bring it before the council?
I'm going to shoot from the hip a little bit here. I believe it's a year, but I haven't looked at that part of the ordinance for a long time. But he's within that time frame tonight.
Okay.
Clearly within that time frame tonight. So.
I think the concern was how long can it be drug out.
Right.
Okay. On a personal note, I appreciate everyone that's reached out and spoken to me on this. I appreciate you taking the time. All of us council members are available for you to speak to, and we will post it on the agenda as soon as if it is requested to be placed on the agenda. Moving on.
You need him to act on that one way or another. He's asked for a continuance, so the board has to approve that or not approve it. So.
Okay. Council.
The question I have then, let's say we don't give him the continuance, then what happens?
Then he's not here, and you can't, and you act on the recommendation of the Plan Commission without him being here. I think without the updated ordinance, that frankly creates a problem, because we can't see what's been provided in the ordinance, but the town council clearly has the authority to do what they want to.
Just in reading the docket as it was presented to us, I would like to act on it this evening. However, I'm not willing to cost the taxpayers of Mooresville money in defending a lawsuit that we did something based on my opinion. So I would assume that we accept the request for it to be tabled, or we don't accept it. Comments or questions from the board?
Mel, I'll ask you one more time, a legal point of view.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear all that.
I said one more time, a legal point of view. You said if we don't accept it.
The town council can either approve or not approve his request for continuance. And if you deny that, then that agenda item would come before the town with no one here to represent the petitioner who represented them at the Plan Commission. So it puts the town in my opinion, an unfortunate position if you should deny the continuance. It becomes one of those things, where's the greater harm, I mean, waiting.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we table this,
Grant.
or grant the continuance as requested.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
I'm opposed also. Like I said, I think that it could have been settled this evening, but if they didn't have it, so I'm going to go with that as a 3-2 vote. 3-2 vote. Mark and myself. I just hate to cost the town money.
Now, one other question, if I would, on this. I know we're beating it up a little bit, but if there's substantial changes made, doesn't that have to go back in front of the Plan Commission?
Yeah. He cannot now start changing the proposal, the development that he proposed to the Plan Commission. If he made any significant changes to that development plan, then that has to go back to the Plan Commission for another public hearing.
Okay.
So,
If you look at what their zoning commitments were, I don't see anything that me seeing them in writing would change my opinion on. But they did, those commitments are the ones that they presented to the Planning Commission, even though the Planning Commission said no, or said they would not recommend this. They can't change that from this point forward. That's it. Okay.
So we get renoticed, or you just put it back on the agenda overnight, or what's the procedure to have it come before you again, or go before the zoning board?
No, go ahead.
since the continuance has been granted, it stays right here until he's asked for the town council to hear it. And then it goes back on the agenda. Now, what Mr. Mathis was talking about is, should he come to the town council with plans that are different than were presented to the Plan Commission, that has to go back, and then the town council cannot act on that. That would go back to the Plan Commission for another public hearing. And then the public would have an opportunity then to present it. Absolutely, yes. It's just like before, it's just like starting all over again. Yeah.
She would be notified if it goes back to the Planning Commission.
Right.
If it doesn't, then, I mean, he could have come in yesterday and put it back on the agenda for today, say.
No, it would go on the agenda for a regular town council meeting, so it would either be the first or third Tuesday of.
But there's no time limit. He can put that on for whatever agenda that you have time to hear it, whatever week.
Right. But that can't go on forever, no, that's right. Right.
And just so I can clear up, since I made that motion, I am not for this, but technicalities to keep us out of someone coming back and saying we're not being fair to them after they've done this, so we don't keep prolonging this. I feel that granting a continuance after that, I'm ready, so.
But asked for it and then didn't show up, so that's.
Totally understand.
I
But we
think-
gotta protect our taxpayers as well to make sure that we're doing things properly and.
I think normally what happens though is usually it automatically rolls from the planning commission to 2 meetings after. That way, if we would happen to have a planning commission and the next Tuesday is a council meeting, we try to get a little more time to get our bearings and understand what's going on. So normally, if this had been a rainbow factory going in someplace and everyone was happy with it, it would still usually go that 2 weeks, and it's automatically rolled on there in most cases. In this case here, I think what he said was he saw it on the agenda and said, wait a minute, I'm not prepared. You understand. Move on. We have the approval of minutes from our previous meeting. Council members have an opportunity to read the minutes. Need a motion to either approve or amend.
I make a motion.
Give them just a second. Probably some of these people aren't going to hang on.
Sorry, I started talking.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I know, I shouldn't have. I should have said,
Oh, okay, thank you.
but I wouldn't follow Bob. I'd follow someone besides him.
Easy.
Easy.
I would say that's the last time I interrupt you, but it probably won't.
For the vacation, yes.
Really doesn't matter.
I make a motion that we approve the minutes as they are.
Motion been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstained? Next item on the agenda is the public hearing for the Hagee Family Trust vacate alley. Mark, is there anyone that has signed the list to speak on behalf of the Hagee family or against?
Jen?
They may have,
Signed it, but other than
We didn't know you had a list of signed before.
Well, this is on a public hearing. That wasn't a public hearing. No, there's no one there.
If we approve it unanimously, can we do the first reading, or do we have to wait?
I think we
that.
We'll just approve it. We'll just do it. Okay,
I can sign the list right now. It's not, you're what we're asking.
I think you're representing them, aren't you?
I am.
I mean, you are, I guess usually you're part of the Hagee family. Usually what we're worried about is someone speaking against you, and I'm
We're all
assuming
in
you're not.
favor of it.
Are you sure you are?
I am. I've trumped it and everything, and it's the best deal for the town.
Well,
Get it on the tax rolls.
well then,
I
unless.
make a motion to approve it. I think we've done this enough, we've looked at this thing enough. Dave's okay with it. I've checked with him, and so as far as I'm concerned, I make a motion to approve.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Now, this is just the first reading. We will have 2 more readings, 2 more readings to approve it. And then after that, and I was asked the same question about the VFW. After we approve it, then who transfers it from ours to?
It sent to the recorder to be recorded, as a deed or anything else, vacating the alley. That shows the alley being vacated. The ordinance will be recorded in the Morgan County Recorder's Office.
Okay. I have a motion by Mark and a second by Dave to approve ordinance number 6. And all in favor, we all voted?
Aye.
I think we already did that.
We double did it.
Do you still want to speak?
No. So when will we?
We're trying to save him money.
When do we need to come back?
The The ordinance requires 3 readings. They did the first one tonight. At the next meeting, if they choose to, they could double up and do both of them, or otherwise it'll go to 2 more meetings. So,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
We can't suspend that and do 2 tonight though, correct?
Yes, you can. If you get enough votes to the council to waive the rules, yes.
Make a motion, we waive the rule.
I'll second.
Sorry.
You want second and third reading and adoption tonight?
Correct.
That's your motion?
That is.
Okay, I thought it was.
Mark, Dave?
Second.
Mark, Dave, to suspend the rules, approve on second and third reading,
Correct.
approve tonight. Motion made and seconded, all in favor to waive,
Aye.
suspend the rules?
Aye.
No. Then I need a motion to approve on approve tonight as second and third reading.
Yep, and
I'll
adoption.
make said motion.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
It's been approved.
Since you've made so many trips in.
Hey, but you can use that as we gain time. We picked up time from,
Yes, it did. Now, is the town going to record the ordinance?
we usually do.
Yes.
Yes, we will.
All right, thank you.
I mean, we did the second and third, we still gotta pay?
Again. It's all right. I've talked to the assessor, and you wouldn't believe that that's the highest priced property in the town of Mooresville.
Actually, I hate to bring you bad news, since the president has already spoken otherwise, but the statute requires the persons getting the vacated property to pay for the copy, to pay for the recording of the ordinance.
Yes, it does.
So I'm sure the
Yes, that's
town
why I
will,
asked.
I'm sure the town will send you
A bill.
whatever.
Yes.
There we go.
And for the certified funds too, I know.
Okay, Pam, I feel better now, thank you.
This is the public hearing for the 2020 pre-adoption hearing of the budget. I think everyone has emailed budgets, but we do have hard copies. Those are final advertised. Keep in mind that these are only advertised. They are advertised just a smidge high. We may have to make some modifications at the final adoption. They are, if you look, either
Oh, I like it.
they are revenue neutral in most cases, or revenue plus. We do have 2 or 3 actual funds that will be not balanced, and that would be our MVH, our CCI, and our CCD. MVH goes back to the restricted funds that we have talked about in the past, and they even changed our edit plan and how we were going to spend money there. We do have a reserve. This will still put us in a positive position. However, that MVH will be a $60,000 or $57,000 underfunded, but we do have that in a cash reserve that we can catch up next year on that. Is there any comment from the public on the advertised budgets? I need a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
For final adoption will be at our next meeting, or October 1st, is that correct? October 1st meeting. By then, we should know, we may know certified numbers from the county and know where we're at as far as tax rates. At this point in time, we do not have that information available to us. Moving on, next item on the agenda, Angela Farrell, River Road. Always get nervous when I see her.
Wonder why. Glad to see you're sitting upright.
There you go. Are you really? That's one.
I'm not saying I'm voting for that.
I said that's one.
What, if, I'm just asking to see if I can get connected to your guys' sewer lines for a house that I'm renovating on, Ricker Road. 12165, it's right on the corner of Ricker Road and 144.
This one's kind of a unique, this goes back to the Boyd Heights subdivision.
Got it.
That, the way that sewer line runs, it runs back to that corner and then due east. The problem is there are some private property in between. It's kind of mirrors what we saw the last time. Is that?
Actually, we did some checking with the guys at the shop that know a little bit more than I
Okay.
do. She does have a main sewer trunk that runs right through her front yard, right along.
We can do it in the front yard?
We do, yes.
And that has continuity for annexation already.
We have contiguity to that parcel. We just cannot annex this year because of a year prior to a census.
That'll be 2020.
But she could still request annexation with the hook on.
Well, we should have something signed to that effect. I have no problem with looking onto the sewer, but I would like to have a letter in my motion that she would not oppose annexation when it comes.
Dave, she can gravity feed to that line, is that correct? Fantastic. That's the best news I've had all day.
And then if anything's being written up, my last name is O''F''A''R''R''E''L'.
Not anymore because you requested it as F-E, Harmar. You should have corrected that before. Okay, what the motion is you will sign a letter that says you will
Void my little island.
yes, you will annex into the town of Mooresville when we can annex you.
I understand.
And
Would you get,
Go ahead.
would you get name and address and everything to Dave, and he'll get it to me to prepare those?
Yeah.
Good,
Yeah.
thanks.
And you've already, I have a motion, you've been aware, Dave's made you aware of what the fees are, those kind of things, you're aware of all that.
Yeah.
I'll second Mark's motion.
Thank you.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Angela, thank you very much. Where? Transfer. There it is, right there, I see it. Next item on the agenda is the transfer of funds for the Community Crossings Matching Grant Fund. This goes back to our edit plan and our amendment there. We had originally planned on spending the $129,052.02 out of that. However, with the restricted NVH fund, we can, and the state sees that as an absolutely positive, great use of those funds for that CC Community Crossings Matching Grant. I need a motion to approve the transfer of funds from 203 restricted to 447 matching grant.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No, that's. This is the big one. We need these. And then these here also. So do we need another one of these signed? We're gonna sit down one more of the family, the banning of the alley. We needed 3 of those. The ordinance for Economic Development Commission has been struck. It turns out that we do not need to do that as we have done that in the past. the ordinance for you guys. Ordinance 14, 2000, or ordinance 14, 1972, yes. Kevin Julian, police cars. Kevin?
Good evening, everybody. What I'd like to do first is I've got some copies here. Some of this might be redundant, but I'm going to go through it. Just that way we got some reference for everybody's on the same page.
Thank you.
And they should be all numbered correctly.
Thank you.
I have one extra for some reason. Unless somebody's got
Yes,
one
so
that's
you
Kevin
can
on the
go
front
over
of it. Does that say which one? It'll say Kevin on it. Can I trade you, Mark? What I'm going to do is just go through each page real quick and tell you what it's all about. And then Lieutenant Rogers has did all of the legwork on this. He understands it a lot better than I do. He will take you through it step by step. What we want to try to obtain tonight, what money we want to use for equipment and stuff like that. The first thing is, I got this from Debbie. She's been really helpful in helping me work this out. These are the appropriations, or the, I guess, the lease payments that we paid for 2019. You can see for the, looks like the 2018 was $50,862, the other one was 55, and then one was 53. And that was on page 1. Page 2 and page 3 is the lease quote for the 2020 vehicles, 5 of them, with the payment amount for the lease, if it's approved, is $24,346.33. That's the basic car, and whatever internal equipment that comes with it in the package. 4 and 5 is a quote from Ford with all of the equipment being bought through Ford. And that price would be $75,140.31. Page 6 is kind of a breakdown of that first, as far as the lease payment for the 2020s. And this one shows with all the equipment, with the total purchase price for each vehicle is $42,607.17. Page 7 is a little bit more breakdown, and then some chicken scratches off at the side. But basically, without the equipment that Lieutenant Rogers has proposed we don't get through Ford, minus some gun lockers and riser kits, which he will go through, is $36,320.95. The last page 8 is what we paid for the 2018s, the lease price and the purchase vehicle price. Am I going too fast? Page 9 is just a little breakdown of how we've, like the cost of materials, what it's going to cost for decals, painting, which used to do some painting, and where the equipment's coming from. And if you look down at the bottom, it also has a quote from Muncie on what they're willing to give our purchase for our vehicles. And again, Lieutenant Rogers will go through that. Page 10 is a description of all of the equipment. If we were to go through Ford, this is what was put into their lease on the first quote. Page 11 is what we would like to get just through Ford, is the running kit lights and the radars. Page 12 is a list of what we do intend to get through Waymeyer and not go through Ford to get. Page 13 is a quote from Kenny's Body Shop for just, if we go with just a solid color vehicle, it would be removal and install of the new stickers or decals. 14 and 15 is actual, if we went ahead and painted instead with the black and white motif that we have, this is what the cost would be for the painting of the doors and everything. That's included in the back part of that. The decals we have on page 9, the total cost for the decals for all the cars is $2,250. what I'd like to do now is have Lieutenant Rogers come up and go through a little bit more detail about the vehicles. If that's okay with y'all.
Really what's going on now, a little bit unique situation for us. We haven't really purchased new equipment for the police cars since the Crown Vic days. I think the last time we bought consoles was 1998 to 2001. Light bars were 2005 to 2006 in that era. Getting to a point now I can't make the equipment work that we currently have. Ford has redesigned this 2020 with a bigger center plate in between the seats. Therefore, I can't use a 6-inch bell bracket and the previous consolidator consoles that we've used in the current vehicle because it would stick way up here. The light bars, we're asking for new light bars. We have just made them work. We just bought bracketry, what they call strap bracket, to attach them to the vehicle with years. Updated lens kits, and put like LED alley lights in there just so that we could continue to update the lens kits. But the last time that I bought a replacement light for the corner of the light bar, it cost us $600 just for one module. And what we're finding is that's almost a third of what a new light bar would cost. So that's the reason for some of the equipment. The gun bolts and stuff that we currently have, they are reusable, but we still have to buy new mounting hardware for them, regardless of whether we buy new or whether we buy used. Muncie Police Department has offered to give us $15,000 for our 2015s we would get rid of, and they want to give us $16,500 for the 2016s we want to get rid of, whereas Ford's quote to us was $12,000 for the 2015s and $14,000 for the 2016s. Being that they want to take our gun lockers, we can replace the gun lockers for around $950 a vehicle per vehicle, $950 per vehicle. That also includes the mounting hardware. They're willing to give us an extra $500 per car that they buy off of us for the purchase of those lockers, which pretty much will pay for brand new lockers. And that would stay in new equipment, and we, would still fit the price of the riser mounts, which would be out whether we use the old ones or whether we bought new ones. The striping kit that we currently use, they're $450 per vehicle. They're slightly higher for the K9 cars, which we are not buying any for K9 cars this year. But we get them up at the middle of town there across from the old police department at the sign shop, $450 a vehicle. Kenny Johnson gave us a quote for a little over $1,700 per vehicle to install those and remove the stickers off of the old vehicles. This is something Kenny's kind of done out of his own pocket for the last few years. So I asked him to give me a quote as to what it would cost us if we were to pay him to do it. We've also got a quote from Kenny in regards to if we went to a solid vehicle, whether it be a black car or a white car, how much our cost for him to install the new stickers on the new vehicles and remove the stickers off the cars we're getting rid of. $280 a vehicle, or to take stripes off of one and remove stripes off of another, $280. So I mean, there's a substantial difference. We have not really decided if we're going to go to a solid vehicle yet. We still got to discuss that, but what I've proposed here, I'll try and answer your questions as best I can.
I think probably Mike, Kevin, Randy, yours, that I've got 11 pages here, but I need to know the best options. I don't understand the Ford, I know we're gonna do Winter. I need to know what we paid last year, what the best trade-ins are, simplify that a little bit, Fisher prices just a little bit, so I'm not searching
On the
through.
trade-ins, like what he said, we're gonna get a better deal going with Muncie than what we're gonna get going to Waymire for a trade-in. Are you talking about, or through Ford? Are you talking about what we got last year for the trade-in and
Well,
stuff?
I'd like to see how much things have increased with what they've done. What's it really gonna cost us bottom line? What's the best deal bottom line? And I don't know that that's on one sheet, there's no summary sheet that I see, unless
Well-
I'm just missing it.
The equipment, we put a quote on there that was given to us from Ford to JTN. That's a company that Andy Moore uses out of Greencastle.
But they're more expensive.
Yeah, that's the reason I got,
Okay, so I really don't care about that.
well, that's,
Waymire's the best option.
Okay, that's what I mean, I need to,
Right.
I wanna see that.
well, that is a subject.
Page 9, I think there, Mark, it's,
Huh?
I think page 9's got it broke down.
And I think we're better off buying outright to Waymires because there is a slight inflation on the cost of the equipment, it appears, to JTN.
So it's $39,577.95 per car, and that's with everything you need. Is that correct? Or is it $45,555.90? Where's the, let's say that everything, and that's minus, is that minus the trade-ins?
No.
With the trade-ins the way they are, you're gonna get $82,000 with Muncie proposes.
Okay, and.
It's not really a trade-in, they're gonna purchase those vehicles.
Okay, so what is the total cost of the cheapest way we can go, that in your estimation, Randy, is the best way to go? What's that cost minus the Muncie PD quote of the 5 vehicles, if that's the best?
Well, I'm not really sure right off. I think, what we figured up at, Tom, 53,000 for the first payment?
Mark, if you want me, can I go through a few numbers here for you real quick? Randy and Kevin spent hours down at my shop trying to figure this out. Let's go back to how we're going to fund it. That's where I'd like to kind of start there.
Well, that's kind of where I'm at.
If you look at where our payments are, where we've got what we've paid this year, we will actually have next year we will have the third payment on one set of cars and then the second payment on the other. So we'll pay off a set of cars next year. If we look at those totals, we're looking at $101,000 that we have going out next year to make the commitments or pay the commitments that we already have out. So that's where I want to start there, is the $101,725. In order to make things work, we have moved, and we talked about that with our MVH restricted. We have moved money around. We used to buy their cars out of the Lowett Fund. We moved that into the CCD fund. We have budgeted in the advertised budget $125,000 for that. Now, the problem is and will be the fact that these cars are going to be more expensive. At 5 cars, we're losing 1 car as far as making the payments. 4 cars cost us as much as 5 cars used to cost us. We're also
Is that a basic car? Or
that is the car itself and leasing it. That's
the
the
basic
car
car.
itself. Yes, we have
It's
the
$5
car
grand
has
more this year?
the car has went up.
5,000?
Yes,
And
the
the
car has
discount
went up
is-
and the discount has come down. Now, we talked about this when Brad came in, as far as it is a new car. I think a lot of people are clamoring to get the car, and I've voiced my opinion on that. That said, we don't have the money to do, in my opinion, we don't have the money to do 5 cars. However, if we take and we sell to Muncie 2 cars, 2 of the 215s or 2015s and 2 of the 2016s, that's going to give us $65,000. The cars themselves, when we start buying these cars,
I'm gonna interrupt you really quick.
Okay.
2016, you're gonna do the 3 or 2?
2.
It shows 3.
It shows 3 there. I'm trying to figure out how we can fund it. It shows 3 there, and the problem with funding 3 of them is it's going to get our payment higher than what we have budgeted to pay.
Higher than the 125?
Higher than 125 for, and we have 3 cars. We will be paying last year's, year before, and this year's. So you got to remember that when we buy these on the lease payments, we've got $101,000 committed for next year's budget.
Got it.
Okay, so if we can do this, I'm Fisher pricing it, Mark.
That's what I want you to do.
That's what I'm trying to do. If we do it this way, we can get caught up, I think. The lease price per car with the equipment from Ford is $15,028 per, that is a yearly payment. Now, the lease payment per car without any of the equipment in it is $12,869 per payment. Now, there's a little bit of a problem there because that's going off of their lease sheet. And if you look at their first lease sheet, the price of the vehicle, they're showing it as $36,470.95, and that is a mistake because if you go back through there, Kevin even pointed that out, and that's $150 per car. That there's just a discrepancy that they've done. But if we go ahead and we do that lease price at 4 cars, that's going to be $51,477. If we take the $65,000 that has been traded, or that we sell the cars for, we swipe off $18,851 for all the equipment that we need, buying it in the cheapest manner that we can buy it. That will leave us $46,148 as our first lease, or to put down on our first lease payment. That's going to leave us about $5,300 short. I think we can do that with some leftover LOIP funds. The downside to that is, now we go down to other things that they want, and that includes, that's going to be the decals. The decals are $29.20. If we decide that we want to go with the black and white scheme, that's going to be another $5,020. So somewhere in their budget, and I would assume in this year's budget, because we were going to buy them this year, we need to find $7,940. We worked on this up until, what was it, Randy, about 5:30, 5:15? So I didn't have time to find that. And the one thing that this is still...
Tom, not to interrupt,
Okay,
but I'm
go ahead.
interrupting. If we are only going to do 4 cars, then we wouldn't need the full $18,813.82 for the equipment.
No, if what that has is for the 4 cars, it's $18,851, and what that is the equipment from Waymeyer's, and then I had to add in that $950 for the vaults,
Okay.
because we forgot that would pay for the vaults also. Trying to make sure that we don't end up, hey, what about tires on this thing? It looks good, but we can't drive it. So that's where that $18,851, but we could fully fund it with that trade-in. We've just got to figure out the $5,300, which I think we can do out of LOIP. We over budgeted our LOIP, but the only reason we over budgeted it was we were going to spend that as a down payment on our radios, and we didn't actually do that. The $8,000, we can cut that back to $2,920 if we just do decals and labor and don't do the black and white scheme. I know Kevin made the comment that he really wasn't excited about having 2 different style vehicles or 2 different paint schemes, but we actually have 2 different styles of vehicles also. So I mean, now would be the time to make the change if we're going to change it, and just go as we change the models out.
Again, that's not set in stone. You just asked my opinion. I give you my opinion. That's it.
Well, you should. I'd have to side with, I like all the cars of these. Just me.
Well, and that's just it. We have to find then another $5,000 somewhere.
And that will give it 5 cars.
Now, this is only doing 4 cars.
Have you got a 2016 that's got low miles or something, or?
I don't remember what the mileage is on it.
Yeah, you know, I've got those wrote down, but I've got them accurate.
See what I mean? If it was,
I think they're all
I
in
knew what
the
those
50s.
were, maybe help me make the decision whether we need to go do 5 or 4.
I don't have a clue how we can fund the 5, is my problem. I don't know where, the way that we've done the others, I'm not sure, I'm lost there. I wanted to make sure that we stay within budget and also stay within a rotation of the vehicles.
We have a couple more 16s, but the 316s are the lowest mile 16s that we've got there, that we put in for Muncie to look at. I believe we're in the 50s, but don't quote me on that.
Do we have a commitment letter from them on those prices?
Just a verbal.
Well, I've got text messages from him, but other than that, he did come down and physically look at
I assume you would, but we have anything in writing.
nothing in writing. But I think we can get that.
It's what's killing us is that extra $5,000. If we were at the same price, I think we could roll all 5 cars. And I don't know whether the price is going to come down if the state will renegotiate a QPA on it, which is on the state bid.
Have we checked different dealerships to see if they were cheaper?
Well, the QPA is going to be the same on all of them. Because it's state pricing.
They're positive that it's always going to be the same.
For QPA, yeah. I mean, that's just what they settle at.
Just a question. And so at 5 cars, what would that lease payment be then? We do that, we know?
Yeah, that was figured in there. That was figured.
That's page 2 and 3.
Did I miss that? I apologize.
I'm not sure. But page 2 and 3 is the lease payment amount for a bare bones car, but also that does, some of the equipment comes standard on the police package. And Randy can tell you what comes standard with the police package on that.
$64,000 worth. But that's also, you know, you gotta jump back in there with the equipment, the painting on that car, the painting, the decals. I mean, if we can take a little more time, I can figure out more money.
The only thing I caution against is the longer we go, I just
Muncie
don't
may
want to
back
lose
out.
Muncie. The opportunity to get those cars and our opportunity to get that payment on those cars.
They were gonna-
What they're willing to give us.
What's the difference in the trade-ins for the exact dollar amount on those?
$12,000 for the 2015s and $14,000 for the 2016s.
Yeah, that's the
So
reason we're wanting to go
15s
with that.
is a significant amount, the 2016s is a little bit
But
less.
depending on how this goes, they're gonna put it in front of their board October.
They see no reason why it should not be approved. At least
They're,
that's the impression he gave us.
he talked like his chief was ready to write a check over to us, but we didn't want that because the only thing can happen between now and when our new cars come in.
And he's aware that we need to get our cars in, get them equipped before we can even get the cars.
I got you.
Are they delivering these cars yet? The police interceptors, is Ford producing them, delivering them?
I have only seen one over Andy Moore Ford.
Okay.
I don't know how many I don't think there's any on the road yet that I've heard of, other than demos.
We've done 5, but we had a few years there. I wasn't on here, that we didn't do any. I like to do that. I like to keep 5 going.
Well, back in the early 2000s, when I first started doing Crown Vics, we were getting 6 cars a year, and then
I think
somewhere around 2004, 2005, we went to come to 5 vehicles.
5 works.
Yeah.
6 obviously. course, it's better than 5 orders.
No, I'm good with it. I'm good with that. Fine. I've got no of them, so.
And once he's taking those cars, it helps Randy out, because that, he's not gonna have time, or he has to take out all the equipment in those cars, and just get started on building the new cars with equipment.
And once we get these light cars in this time, then that will be better for us, because they'll last a while.
Well,
It should be cheaper next year on their 5 cars.
we haven't bought light bars since 05 or 06.
Yes.
It's 2019 now. We have replaced the lenses
I understand.
about every third year on all of them, just people looking decent. And, you know, buying equipment brackets to mount and updating the tape or alley lights in them to accommodate the new lens kits. But we're getting to a point now that it's hard to even get parts for them, the ones we currently have.
And actually, Mark, this is gonna be an ongoing, because nothing they currently have is gonna work on these.
Okay.
So as we do this every year for the next few years, it's gonna be a large expense.
Believe me, if I could make what we have work, I would.
Well, the only thing I would say, the urgency, if the urgency is there, then that's what folks want to do, we're gonna have to do 4 right, because if it's not urgency, we can do 5, I'd rather do that. But if it's urgent that we do this tonight, then it'll be 4, I guess, because right now we don't, I mean, can we come up with the money? I think so, but we don't know that.
Could we come back and do a 5th one eventually, or
Say again?
could we come back and do a 5th one eventually, or is it 4 and done?
No, I don't think it's for or none by any means. I think it's just trying to figure out how to buy it.
Right.
I would say we could come back later, well, let's think about, trying to think how to say this. We get the 4, and I'm assuming if we come back to try to get the 5, they can just roll that all into that lease payment, correct?
I don't think they can do 2.
I think,
Two different servers.
I think we could, we don't have to have a single lease payment. I don't think it's, we're not getting any type of benefit from amount of money we're spending or anything
I didn't know
like
how that
that.
works, so I apologize.
No, I didn't know, that's great, that's a great question. I can be happy to work some more on this. We can give, it's up to the council if we want to give Muncie a commitment on 4 with the possibility of 5.
Would it be prudent to give them the authorization to proceed with Muncie?
Can't do that till we authorize we're gonna do it by cars. If we don't buy cars and sell them monthly, we might be out of cars.
Right.
I know we have a couple bicycles.
Well, this is good.
Well, I definitely want to move forward with getting cars, and I don't want to see that program fail. I'm like Tom, it's kind of, we can probably nickel dime a 5th one in there somewhere, but I don't know where that comes from exactly right now. I would be happy with going ahead and making a motion for them to proceed with the 4 that we know we can fund, come back as we get more time. That way you don't lose the commitment to Muncie, because I think that's huge, and there's a big savings there for us right now that we may not get that opportunity again. And at least we're getting 4, maybe not the 5th, but I think that's, for what we're gaining by moving forward with the 4, I'm comfortable with that, so they can move forward tonight. So I make a motion that we approve them for the new vehicles with the equipment, and to proceed with pursuing Muncie and the trade-ins.
Tom, I haven't run all these numbers, but you're saying that we would be okay if we get 125 or a little bit more per year on 4? We're gonna be more than that.
No, we'll be fine on 4 because 50,000 is going to drop off, and our lease payment, our annual lease payment is going to be 53,000, but it's only on 4 cars, and that's what's killing us. Is if you look at our lease payments are $50,000 on the 18s and
5.
and we're going to be at 53,000 on 4 cars, and this was on 5 cars.
Okay.
That's what's killing us.
And that would include, David, I've never tried to change your motion.
No, never.
But that would include all the extra, everything.
The equipment.
They want, including the black, white decal, all.
Well,
Correct.
the black, white decals, and Sandy's helping me here, she's found one spot that we think we can get that extra 5,000 out of.
And that, but that would include that.
My motion does, yes.
Your motion included, it would be.
Correct.
It would be,
We keep the same that we're doing
cheaper-
right now.
Cheaper of the bunch, the Waymires, the Kenny Johnsons, the decals, the black white, we've got all new for Ford.
Correct. Yep.
The only thing we're robbing out of our own cars is the radios, the computers and mounts, the flashlight chargers, our camera systems and our radar units. Because that stuff's pretty much all new, except for the radar units. And
I'll
so-
second David's motion,
Thank you, Mark.
or our motion.
I will update, I guess and I want to see how this feels to tweak a motion here. Do you,
Never done it before.
I
but-
know, I haven't, it's awesome. Do we want to make the commitment to Muncie for 4, possibly 5? And I'll see what I can do.
Once we do this, Muncie's the choice, whoever's handling that, then yeah, let's, I think anyway. David, put your motion, but, or kind of.
I'm good with it. They need cars. I don't want them walking.
Well, I'm sure this guy will give us, I mean, he's working right out
Obviously, what you have to explain to him, and I know you're going to do this, is, you know, we gotta have these until these come in, and you guys are
Exactly.
outfitted, so it can be. That's how it
Maybe after the first of the year.
could be.
Yeah.
Depending upon when we get delivered.
That's why I didn't know if they had even started coming in or not.
I don't know anybody who's got it in, I've just seen one demo, and that's pretty much it.
Dave, your motion is to go
Not
with
yet.
4 with
Get
I
there.
all the equipment, black and white paint. And the
Stripes, we want
possibility of-
stripes.
Possibility of 5 if we can fund it.
Correct.
But the motion is definitely for 4.
Definitely for
I have a
4.
quick question.
And to proceed with Muncie.
I know Lieutenant Rogers is talking about radars. Are we go, no go on new radars? I mean, that's just a question. You guys go with what you want, but we've made our case. I'm just,
What's
just
the radar
clarifying.
cost?
A
Well,
bunch.
Brad Yarnell just ordered one for Officer Pope that was bad. They're $1,500 is what they are per car.
I think we ought to.
Do you want anything else?
I didn't ask.
Is there anything wrong with the current radars that we would have to absolutely replace them?
We are getting to a point where we had to order a new one for Pope. We got like 2 or 3 heads that we sent off and had recertified and fixed, and now we're even out of those that we've just been piecing. That's not to say that we couldn't, when we strip out radar units out of the cars we got, that, you know, maybe a chief car or a captain car or a reserve car couldn't go without a radar unit.
Well, let me ask you a question, man. If we get new cars in, how difficult is that to change over when they're here? If you don't order them right now, could you do that if money is okay in March or something?
I can always.
Does it have to be done right then?
Not
It's
necessarily.
not labor intensive differently if you do it by itself versus the whole
It's a
time.
little harder, but it's not undoable. I do it all the time for other agencies as well as ours. The hardest thing is not the rear antenna, but running the cabling and stuff is no different, no harder.
I think based on the tightness that we're in right now, that we, my opinion would be to leave that alone and just add as, if we can, if we, you know, if the Ronald Reagan statute out there starts to spit money out.
Why don't we, once we get the cars all switched out and get radars that we currently have, then take a look at and see if it needs.
I keep my motion the same. No radars right now.
Motion been made to move forward with purchasing of 4 vehicles at this time. We'll go over the funding. I'll go over that for Sandy with the minutes. Motion been made by Dave, seconded by Mark. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you guys for the work you've put into this.
Months in and get that figured out.
I'll get on hold with Mike and we'll up here tomorrow and have him send us something.
Some kind of commitment later, thank you.
Other business from the council. Legal counsel.
Oh, hang on. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Nope, just wanted to update everybody on the baby box.
Don't know if you read the paper, we are very, very close. We have one opportunity kind of left. The Knights of Columbus at St. Thomas More and Applebee's are teaming up for a dime to donate 15% of your sales. We'll go to the Baby Box here in Mooresville. I am hopeful, knock on wood, that this will push us over the top and we'll be able to get this thing going. It is so close that I have a contract in hand. So, September 21st, 2019, all day. You do have to bring this nifty little piece of paper. It's been posted all over. I've seen it even in Pennsylvania. I have no idea who I know from Pennsylvania. But, if you would like, we can make copies real quick. That's all I have.
Thank you very much. Legal counsel.
One item, Mr. President.
No, go ahead, please.
Indiana American has returned the development agreement signed. So I have 3 copies of those signed, ready for the town council. I can't remember whether we approved those. I think we were waiting to get them.
Waiting to see if they approve it.
Right, so if you're ready to approve those, Indiana American has approved it, so.
This was the property that we elected to sell as an economic development improvement, and also to ensure that our quantity and quality of water was kept intact.
You're now looking for a purchase agreement from Indiana.
If this is approved, yes.
Sorry,
If this is approved.
I couldn't hear.
If this is approved.
If it's approved.
It's not approved, we need
Make
to
a
approve
motion
it.
to approve it.
I'll second.
Motion been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
So Mark, you going to do the purchase agreement?
For free?
For Indian American, they'll do their own, they had done one previously, so,
Okay, I'll take a look at it.
yeah, they'll do it.
All right.
I think they've only got Thomas' signatory on here.
There you go.
Department heads. Hey, did you want to give did you want to give a report? Updated today.
Already did the main thing.
You give me, I'll do that.
This is my first time, so I apologize if I, get out of order like that. First thing I wanted to mention is we had 3 critical incidents in the last 2 weeks. On 9/4, we had a stabbing. On 9/9, we had that fire with the fatalities on East High Street. And then we had a death investigation out on Man Road. The reason I mention that is Chad Richard, our detective, and Matt McDaniel, our evidence tech, are members of the Major Crimes Task Force. They came out for the stabbing, they came out for the fire, and they also went out and assisted Morgan County with the dead body that they found on Man Road. They have been working overtime, and they've taken one chance. On the night of the fire in especially was, we probably had a third of the department out on that because of scene security, closing off roads, getting people to cover the calls and stuff like that. Even had Dave's guys come out and assist us with barricades, and so I wanted to thank him for that. And if you don't mind, I did send out the stats. I really don't want to go over those. You guys can look at those at your leisure. I just wanted to hit a couple other things. We have offered a job to Kyle Vaughn. He's coming from Southport. He's a lateral hire. And his tentative date is the 30th of this month if everything goes correctly. Our 3 other guys have started the academy. They did that on yesterday. So they're down. They should be there till December 27th. They'll have a 4-day weekend, and then they'll start their, I guess what you call true FTO. They're going to be driving their cars, taking calls, and doing everything, try to get them on the road as quick as possible. I know Mr. Lundy's here, and we have started the process to fill retired Chief Allen's position. I don't know if that's something that we can even move forward with trying to fill his spot, because I know there's probably still paying out stuff for him monetary-wise, but that's a Debbie question, and I haven't broached that or anything like that. Brad, he's pretty much on terminal leave till sometime in January. The new building, everything's working good. I think we've used every aspect of the building now for our different cases. Our evidence room, our book-in room, the Signal 42 machine, which is our chemical breath test machine, using the bay for actual evidence recovery. We've had to bring a couple of cars in related to a couple of the incidents. And all of our technology. We have new interview rooms with recording systems and cameras throughout the whole building. That's quick, short, and sweet. Any questions?
Appreciate the report.
Appreciate the report. I also want to appreciate Rich Myers
Yes, I'm sorry, I forgot to
for
mention
keeping me updated on it. I spoke to him, and then Tim Metzger also did a real good job of keeping us updated. Any other department heads? I don't think that's it. Oh, did you have something?
Granted, inline removed into town today to start coating the sewer lines. They'll be here 11 to 13 days. Yeah, we're finishing up Sweetwood with stormwater and sidewalk work.
Thank you. Public comments.
Real quickly, if I could, beforehand, Mark, we should mention that we did get the park purchased a couple of acres, 2.12 acres. We got that closed. A couple days ago, yesterday. Okay. There were two appraisals done, of course, and I helped with the purchase agreement, and I knew, but they got that done. Obviously, no compensation for Mountainous Real Estate, but we got it done, and so we're good to go now, and we're ready to mow and move on. We've got 2 acres on County Line Road, which is outstanding, and it backs up to the maintenance building. So that's it.
Thank you. Thanks. Public comments.
All right, let's see if I can get some other postage stamp. There's a whole nother side to the vehicles that I don't know if the council, and I know a lot of the public doesn't know. Lieutenant Rogers spends countless hours of his own time and his own money putting in extra brackets for officers, putting in extra lights for officers, and I just want to tell you, Randy, I think it's phenomenal. And if the man needs something, I hope you guys fully support him, because I can't tell you how much money he's probably spent on me out of his own pocket when he was being forced to put this stuff in and didn't have the budget for it in the past. So, you know, I hope you guys get what you need. But thanks, Randy, for always being there and throwing in extra brackets and throwing in extra lights and stuff. So.
He made a pretty good list, so I think he knows this time that we'll help him.
I've never done this before, so am I supposed to come up?
Yeah, come on up here, state your name.
Okay. I'm just a resident.
Not just.
Not just. Don't say that.
I have laryngitis. I apologize. My name is Bobby Brockemeyer, and I've lived on Delwood Drive for 38 years. And it's a nice town. It's a great town. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But I'm representing myself and other neighbors because we really want some street lights on Delwood Drive. We have a combination of, I've lived there so long that myself, I've experienced crime on the street to my vehicles. I've had crime on my front porch. And with the occasion of last week, we're into more crime again. And I've talked to David more about this, just scratching the surface in years past. But if you drive down Delwood Drive, it's an invitation for crime because there's dark holes everywhere because we don't have streetlights. We're getting together with some people right now to do a neighborhood watch idea for people to put their porch lights on. Because, it doesn't draw a lot of electricity, but people just don't want to do it. But it helps. It helps a lot. But there's other streets involved too. I'm not the only one. But between neighbors and, like I said, talking to David over the years, last week I decided that, well, I need to come and do what I can for myself and our other neighbors to see if we can get some street lights. Like I said, it's not the only street in that area. The addition is old, but it's not old in the way of homeowners, the size and price of those houses. They turn over like crazy when they go up for sale. So we have a lot of young people a lot of young kids in the neighborhood. So be it the sidewalks, the lighting, you know, we have, like I said, a lot of kids, we have a lot of walkers, dog walkers, and finally, with the help of David Moore for the last several years, we've got new sidewalks. We've got great sidewalks. And that's really great, you know, and we want to thank for that. But we really would love to do something about the lighting. You know, as I said, we're trying to get the people to put on their porch lights. You know, when you look at a house with a porch light, it looks warm. It looks like people are there. But just on my street alone, if you come and visit me, I have a huge flagpole, so that light gives light to some other people, you know, for our flag. But you look across the street, it's pitch black between the homes, and that's an invitation for crime, I think. That's all.
Well, thank you very much. And I don't know if any of you recognize Mrs. Sparkmeyer, but she's always at the polls and at the Christian church, and I want to thank her because I think she's been there every time that I've voted. So thank you for volunteering on that.
It's fun.
Real quick on that, if I may, if you could get with me afterwards, I'll put you in touch with the gentleman who has started a neighborhood crime watch in my area. We kind of went through the same thing. We actually raised up money to buy a light ourselves. So just get with me after the meeting.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Well, and I'd like to see Dave take a look at it, make sure that it does comply with our ordinances as far as what we would require of a new builder that was coming into town as far as the lights, and make sure that we still comply. She lives in a new addition built in 1957, but I think Bob Dunn probably was set to a standard that hopefully we still comply with.
Tom, one thing I did.
The lights that are there, you know, are so dim. There's one at Delwood and Westwood, and there's one about in the middle of Delwood. And they've got light, of course, maybe they're not new type of lights, you know, because they don't give a lot of light. And we've had police patrols regularly for years. You know, I see Mooresville police come through my area. So it's not enough. And it's scary.
One thing I failed to mention, the tile work's been completed at the Chicago Tile Police Department. We have the old police station. It should close within 30 days. So it's ready. It's rolling along.
Okay. Dave, would you mind looking into that? Any other public comments? Motion for approval of payment of claims and a dollar amount.
Make a motion that we approve claims in the amount of $299,943.46.
Motion made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion that we adjourn.
Do I have a second?
I'll second since Mark was anxious to get out the chair there.
I was just putting my phone in.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Our next meeting will be October 1st, 2019. It will be our 2020 budget final adoption. Thank you, everyone.
Sign it, I'll pull back the basket.
Next thing we're gonna do.
See you, Brian. Did I pass down claims?
Yes.
Thank you, Jessica.
Okay, Mark's.
Thanks, Mark. Yeah.
Excuse me.
Bless you. Bless you, baby.
I will, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mom.
Thank you very much.
All right.
I'll have to find it. I don't know if we can schedule something.
Yeah, well, you did it when I was here, but I didn't know you had been in, so that's okay. And I have a signed copy. Did you guys see that for the phone? Hi, thank you so much. Well, I actually have the original, because consent. Tom had asked me to get the consent, so I got the consent. Sandy, file. I can get it. Thank you. Appreciate the emails.
What?
I did, yeah.
I'm gonna let you go. I might have a couple follow-up questions tomorrow. Will you?
All right. Well, I am going home. My eyes.
Do it tomorrow, or do you have quick questions now? You can do it.
Well, that air kept blowing straight down into it. I was like, I felt like I was gonna cry up there. Very.
He needs to. Okay, bye-bye.
There's a lot to sit through, so I think I'll take the night to look at it tomorrow morning.
All right.
But I might call you around tomorrow morning. That's okay. It won't be a lot, but just a few questions. Thanks, Tom.